Shit. Oh, no, it's okay. All right. Maybe that means we got infinite amount of time. All right. So today is the star date for August 1st. This is a new environmental call for the New Aegis with Pen Eagle Song and talking with Valdis, the Tartarian, and head of does his new environmental and environmental hikers show. So I had this experience, Val, with the friend of mine who called me this morning, and I had called him yesterday, and he told me that when I called him, was at the exact time that he turned on his second phone that he never has on because it costs $10 a minute if he's receiving a call live. And he's over in Ukraine, Poland, on the border right now. He's part of the group delivering people and doing pickups and taking people in and out of Ukraine and delivering supplies and stuff like that. And when I called him, it was at the exact moment that he turned his phone on, his second phone, the phone that he never uses. And he told me that timing was so unusual that he was in a very strange situation. He couldn't answer the call, but he called me this morning to tell him how unusual it was, and that so we would have a talk, which we did this morning, about what he's doing and the people that he's been meeting and the places that he's staying in. He's got a hotel for $30 a night on the border of Ukraine, and that's where they have a little station set up. But they've also had a very rich guy who has a who comes there and he buys out villas and houses 20 and 30 people in the villa. The last time in the spring they did this, and he's helping them, and he drives them to different places in the rental cars, and takes them across the borders or whatever it is. And it's interesting what he's doing. I grew up with this friend in New York. He's my next door neighbor. And we even made a picture once where all five boys were in the backyard, and we were all dressed up like the Beatles in their suits, and with 3 guitars and a drummer, kind of like trying to look like we're the Beatles. We're only like 10 years old. Okay, so all right, so Val, I wanted to mention to you what happened yesterday was with these videos that I made, and what happened with the new UU. I did a little new UU at 10 a.m., which is 3 hours before we do that worldwide new UU song with the people in the Middle East and Africa or America and England and whoever wants to participate in that and new UU song on Sundays. But I was 3 hours early, and I decided to do some kind of an exercise. I was doing this little StarDate show, and so I made the StarDate for that date, July 31st, and then while I was doing it and kind of singing the new UU, the butterflies came around, the birds came around, the crickets were singing, and then I noticed that the lights in the little garden, I've got a little setup there, which is kind of a bridge made out of wire, and it's just a doorway kind of, that with trees growing a little bit on top of it, plants growing around it, and I've got different glass prisms and rocks and other kinds of decorations and such. Well, this little building started all the glass and reflection. The sun was coming up, was up about 15 degrees, 30 degrees above the horizon, maybe a little higher, and it was reflecting off the glass, and there was an entire rainbow of colors in the glass and in the grass, everywhere. And it was this light show, and reflectings and sending light reflections out and whatever, I just videoed it and made another video that was about 3 minutes long. The first one on the StarDate was about 12 minutes, and it was describing the StarDate, which I have now in front of the screen that I'm talking with you. This is the StarDate for the 10-degree Leo solar star, and it's in the sign of Libra, which is the gem or Northern Crown constellation, and the days of beauty. It's a day of beauty where the solar-lunar position is. And, these are just things that I'm referring, but I'm also referred something I call the exegesis, the 10 song seeds, which are like CDs that I made, and are presenting exegesis, which means to get beyond creation and beyond the old universal view, the old aegis that was established a long time ago, that's being used as a control, monopolization, manipulation of mankind in his consciousness. So, today I've written some notes out about this, but what really interests me is this timing about that we're on and that we're working with, because what we're really partially talking about is trying to get beyond the control of the timing, the calendar, the ancient Babylonian astrological, and also the Justinian Christian calendar, and the Greco-Roman and Egyptian and Mayan. All of those calendars are all descendants of this, perhaps something of the original, but all of it is some form of a dominated, monopolized point of view that's being used, and it includes very much so what's happening with the artificial intelligence and the computer media programming, and the hypnotic, much more so, the hypnotic holographic projection simulator. And these are all things that I wrote down this morning, trying to present the true reality life is, and also what the simulator conditioning is, and how to actually translate the real messages and the real position into or become aware, that is, really, of the true reality life is. So that's quite a statement for August 1st, first day of the Days of Light. Here we are, and there's definitely things happening, as in Ukraine, and this is a situation where the monopolizers of the corporate oil and electronics and finance are all integrated, and they're all battling for positions and competing with each other, and creating a whole triad, I would say, of a pyramidal structure that's being manipulated from a higher level, from the fourth dimension, basically, and on down from the original universal creation into these life levels that we're experiencing, 7 of which we're speaking of, New UU. And so that's pretty much the story here. The moon is going to finish its Virgo position and go into Libra, which is on the position where the Messiah is. That's the conglomeration of star positions, that is galaxies, that are all, our closest galaxies are all in a group, just like our galaxy is a group of all these stars. And between them, there's a huge amount of empty space and nothingness, perhaps, or dark matter is another way that they call it. And that's the 6th level, the field of dark matter, the Oceanus in creation. And it's nothing. I got a phone call. It doesn't mean anything. Excuse me. But Val, I wanted to ask you, in reference to your show on these hikers, environmental hikers, we're really hiking the real universes, of course, and we're using, and I know you're using the universal hikers as, or environmental hikers, as people who are aware of the Earth and its so-called planetary fields, but also of the environmental relationships, and that includes having a respect for nature and just enjoying life in the real natural world, hiking and environmental viewing, if you will. And many of the hikers, of course, are naturalists, and so I think this is something I call naturalism. So any comments, shares you'd like to say on anything that was shared?
Yeah, I use Universal Hikers. I've got a YouTube channel. I'm just starting, and I interview 2 or 3 hikers a week, and I'm not really pushing the environmental thing too much yet. I'm kind of feeling them out, because a lot of them, even though they're outside, they don't see it, because once you're out there in the wilderness, I mean, it looks pretty pristine still, a lot of the nature areas that we have. I mean, it's so vast. I mean, there's lots of area out there in the United States and the world that's really almost untouched. So you really don't see. But one thing I do notice is, like, when these people do vlogs or they videotape their hike and they share their hike in the background. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. 90% of these vlogs have chemtrails in the back, and this is like a lot of them in the Sierras, in the wilderness areas. So even though they're out there, they don't really notice some of the things going on, as well as the burn areas that they go through here in California, especially where things are so hot. There's no pioneer species that have come back even. Everything is just cinder, just toast, It's going to be a long, long time before anything comes up. So I'm kind of taking it easy here and feeling my way. Some people are a little bit more aware than others, but some people are just out there, trying to get away from their problems and doing, their adventure. It's all cool. So we'll see where it goes. Just kind of experimenting with it.
Very good.
Peter, I got to get off because I got an interview coming up. So
that's perfect, Val. We went 14 to 15 minutes, and you really expressed it really well. And I'll let you go and say, new you, we're sharing, and new you. And that's what it sounds like, and that's where the real is. Thanks, Val.
Thanks.
Beautiful,
okay.
Man. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye. And that is the new you, Solar Solaris August, StarDate August 1st, Days of Light, month begins. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You are all on the great journey into the real universes of the true reality life is.